Receive warmly my friend and my colleague from the state of Wisconsin, Congressman Paul Ryan.
Hey, thank you, Luis. Back at you. Yeah, Luis, like where I come from, he gets his Irish up every now and then. Can you tell? You know, as a Republican here at the City Club, I kind of feel like one of those rare exhibits at the Art Institute. But in addition to my cousin John being here, who's a Chicago resident, we've got our state Senate Republican leader, Christine Rodano here, and we've got Tom Cross, our House Republican leader. It's great to see you two. Thanks for being here. We also got Pat Brady, the state Republican chair here as well. So we have high hopes for the three of them. Will you all join us in helping further their cause, right? Look, this is my first time here at the City Club. It's not my first time here at Maggiano's, though. It's a great restaurant. You know, I grew up in Janesville, Wisconsin. I represent Kenosha, Racine, Janesville. You've all probably heard of Lake Geneva, because that's mostly Chicago people there in the summer. But I live basically less than 2 hours outside the Loop, just up I-90. I've spent my life coming here. In Wisconsin, you go north-south, you don't go east and west. So I would more often go to Wrigley Field than County Stadium to see a ball game as a kid. You know, yes, there's a couple of claps there. So Chicago is very familiar territory for me, and I just want to say thanks for your hospitality. When you take a look at this issue, you can see the dysfunction of our current immigration system. It doesn't work for anybody. And when we look back at the history of this issue, Luis said Ronald Reagan tried to have comprehensive immigration reform in 1986, and they passed this bill then, and it didn't work. It wasn't lasting and enduring reform. So later in 1996, they tried to pass comprehensive bipartisan reform, and that didn't work. And then literally, basically, since 2006, we've been trying to fix this broken system, and we've been laboring at this for a long time. For the first time in a long time, I really believe that we have an opportunity to have a real long-term solution. And I'm not talking some quick fix. I'm talking an enduring system that works, that honors the rule of law, that honors the faith of the immigration system. And it's because people like Luis, Gutierrez, and Paul Ryan, and everybody in between are talking to each other in a sincere way to come together, to find common ground, to once and for all get this done. We see this as important for national security. We see this as important for our economic security. It's important for our economy. But it's more than just that. We talked about this just at the last event. When you think about America, it's not just a country. America's an idea. And it's an idea that people from all over the world aspire to achieve. Your rights, they come from nature, and nature's God, according to the Declaration of Independence. Each and every one of us are unique, we're sovereign, we have inalienable rights. And so countless millions of people from around the world came in search of this idea, the chance that you can better yourself. Look, my name is Ryan, and I'm not related to the Ryans down here in Chicago, except for my cousin John here. And a friend of mine, an Irish buddy of mine, sent me this, this sign, which was posted on all the ships, bringing the Irish immigrants here during the potato famines. My family came from Kilkenny, you know, during the potato famine. Poor Irish peasants came to America, worked the railroads until they had enough money to buy a farm. They ended up in southern Wisconsin. It was summer. They looked around. They thought it looked like Ireland. And then came winter. And they said, oh, crap. Well, they already bought the farm. They've had to make a go of it, and our family's been there ever since. You know, we were in the earth-moving business for most of our lives. Most of my cousins run that now. And here's the sign that my ancestors read on embarking upon the ship to come over to America. It says, advice to Irish immigrants. In the United States, labor is there the first condition of life, and industry is the lot of all men. Wealth is not idealized, but there is no degradation connected with labor. On the contrary, it is honorable and held in general estimation. In the remote parts of America, an industrious youth may follow any occupation without being looked down upon or sustain loss of character. And he may rationally expect to raise himself in the world by his labor. In America, a man's success must altogether rest with himself. It will depend on his industry, sobriety, diligence, and virtue. And if he do not succeed, in 9 cases out of 10, the cause of failure is found to be in the deficiencies of his own character. The advice to Irish immigrants who came over during that wave of immigration. How telling is that? We'd use slightly different words today, but it encapsulates the idea that we have the right to rise in this country. That no matter what the condition of your birth, here, you can make yourself what you want to be. The only thing that limits you from reaching your destiny is your God-given talent and your own work ethic, your effort. That's an incredible idea. And it is that incredible idea that made us the best, most prosperous, flourishing country in the world. There is no other economic system, no other immigration system that has done more to lift people out of poverty than the American free enterprise system and the American immigration system that we have here. That's what makes us proud. So the question is, what do we do to restore this? What do we do to regenerate this? We've had plenty of waves of immigration that have always been met with resistance in the past. The Irish wave is just but one of them. Each wave is met with some ignorance, is met with some resistance. But if we have a system that adheres to the rule of law, if we have a system that we all have faith and confidence in, then it's a system that we can regenerate ourselves, that we can help our economy. If it's a system that says, in this country, if you work hard and play by the rules, you can get ahead. That is, after all, basically what the American idea is. And so when I take a look at this issue, and Luis is right, I've worked on this issue back since the early 90s, in many Republican and Democrat coalitions, trying to make this system work. Number one, and there are 5 basic things I think we ought to do. And as Luis mentioned, this is very important to many of us. You need to secure the border. We are in an age of national security threats of transnational terrorism. We've got drug cartels that are trying to ship drugs in to pollute the lives of our children. We need to secure the border. Number 2, we need to enforce our laws. We need to have laws that we can enforce. That's very important. Right now, we have a system that doesn't work for anybody, no matter what side of this issue you come across. Right now, we encourage people to break the law, and we punish people who follow the law. That is not working the right way. Third, we need to let legal immigrants come here legally. We can't have a system where we pay homage and adherence to the rule of law if we don't have an open system where people can come here in search of their American dream, where the work that won't be done by people who are already here can be filled by people who want to come here and do those jobs. You have to have a workable guest worker system. You have to have a system so that high-tech employers can get high-tech entrepreneurs. You have to have a system so that we can have our agricultural demand met. You have to have a system going forward that deals with what we call future flow, so that we don't wind up like we did after 1986, with a broken immigration going into the future. And number 4, we have to offer people a path to earned legalization. We have to invite people to come out of the shadows. We have to have a system that people have confidence in. It's a system whereby people who have been contributing here can write their record, can get themselves right with the law. And it's a system that still respects the rule of law, where we're not encouraging people to have cut in line in front of the others. No, far from it, actually. This is one where those people who've done everything right from the get-go, they're in the front of the line. And we need to clear the backlog of green cards and all of those things so that when the people come from out of the shadows, when people have what we call deferred adjudication or whatever it is you want to call it, they have the ability to pay their taxes, to acknowledge what's been done wrong, so that they too can get in line behind those other folks so they can find their version of the American dream, and they can pursue whatever path it is they want. Whether they want a temporary permit, a green card, or whether they want to be a citizen, we do not want to have a society where we have different classes of people who cannot reach their American dream by being a full citizen. That is a very important part of immigration reform. Lastly, we need to make sure that the children who are here, who are brought here, who did not choose to come here, who were brought by their parents, that they have an ability to earn citizenship on a far faster way. These are the things that we think are the principles that Republicans and Democrats can come together on. This is a system that recognizes national security is not well served if we do not know who's coming and who's going into this country. It is not a system that is not well served if we do not have operational control of our border. It's also important for our economy to make sure that workers can meet with the jobs that don't have workers yet. That's really important. And so if we get this right, we'll have a system that pays respect to people who self-select to get up and leave the country from where they were to come in pursuit of a better life for themselves and their children. That is exactly what countless generations have done to make this country great. Now, when you take a look at what will be accomplished if we actually achieve this bipartisan reform, which I really think we are the farthest down the path ever since I've been looking at this issue, and I've been in Congress for 15 years. Luis has been there even longer. It will help our economy. This will benefit America's economy. A couple of things. We have other countries that have demographic problems, not unlike ours. For all of those of you who had kids in the 50s and 60s, you did a great job. You had a lot of them. But we haven't had as many since then. The baby boomers are retiring. In fact, 10,000 people are retiring each and every day in this country. And we do not have enough people following them into the workforce to keep our system going like it needs to. You know, I spend my time on budget and economics and demographics. Let me put it this way. We're going from 40 million seniors to about 80 million seniors within one generation. We have a 100% increase in the retirement population this generation, but only a 17% increase in the working population of this generation who pay the taxes to pay for that retirement generation. We need people to come and do work in this country so that we can keep this country's promise alive. Now, when you take a look at the contributions that immigrants make, a quarter of all the businesses created in 2011 were created by immigrants. Businesses from immigrants generate about $775 billion in annual tax revenues. One study shows us that if we actually get our labor market met, if we actually have the kind of immigration we need to sustain a healthy and strong American economy, we'll raise per capita income by $1,700 per family. When you take a look at the fact that America in the 20th century was the envy of the world economy, when you take a look at the fact that because of the creativity, the hard work, and the entrepreneurship of our people, of our workers, you've got a lot of other countries that are looking and they're trying to catch up with us. In fact, it's a lot more competitive in the 21st century than it was in the 20th century. We can't rest on our laurels. We can't look back and just take our future success for granted. We need to make sure that we have an economy that is wired for the 21st century economy. And that means we need to keep the best and the brightest here in America. That means hardworking people who want to contribute, work hard, get ahead, play by the rules, and rise. That helps everybody in this country. That is what immigration is. We need to make sure that for the 21st century, we are wired so that we can compete and survive and thrive in the 21st century just like we did in the 20th century. So when you take a look at what we're doing here, we need to make sure that we have laws we can understand. We need to make sure that we have laws that we can enforce. And we need to make sure that when we look back at this moment, we pay tribute to our country's heritage. That this is a country where you can improve the lot of your life, and the condition of your birth does not determine how the outcome of your life is. And the only thing that limits you from reaching your potential is your own effort, your own destiny, your own work. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us special. That human potential gives us the kind of creativity and the kind of economic growth we need. And this is one of those unique issues. We're a Democrat and a Republican, and there are plenty others in Congress, see that this is important for the vitality of our economy. It's important to modernize our laws so that we can maintain national security. And if we meet this moment, all the faith in divided government, I'm joking here, but there is no faith in our divided government. We haven't gotten anything done of record, of seriousness in a long time. That's an uncertainty tax that I think is plaguing this economy. Those guys in Washington can't get anything right. They never get anything done. This would be an opportunity to prove them wrong. This would be an opportunity to prove that in this country, divided government can actually work and make a difference. So thank you very much for having us today, and I appreciate it, and I look forward to your questions.